Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So let's continue our revision for the graph analysis task 1 essay with the static graph. Now, the structure of the essay is basically the same. If you look back at the structure, okay, it includes the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. It is also around 150 words. So again, determine the type of graph. Okay, if it's static, then this is the way to do it. The introduction is basically the same. You need to first describe the graph, and then you need to include the overview. Now, the overview here is different from the dynamic graph, because in dynamic you have to talk about the trend. So since there's no trend here, you would look at the patterns in comparing these subjects. So you have to compare the subject in terms of its pattern. Maybe you want to talk about which one is the highest or which one is the lowest. Now, when you talk about which one is the highest or the lowest, you have to make sure that it covers the whole subject. Now, let's look at an example of an analysis focusing on the introduction. So we have a sample of a static bar graph here. Okay, it's about the number of male and female research students studying 6 computer science subjects at a United States University in the year 2011. So even though it has a year mentioned here, but it only happens in 1 year. So because of that, it is a static graph. So we have 6 different computer science subjects here. 3, 4, 5, 6. And then let's look at the analysis. We have the description of the graph first. The static bar graph shows the number of male and female research students studying 6 computer science subjects at a US university in 2011. So this is verbatim, word by word, similar from the topic. So if you can rephrase that a bit, then it will be better. Maybe you want to mention all the 6 subjects here. Okay, but bear in mind that doing that makes your introduction longer. Okay, so that is the first element that is needed in the introduction. Now, the second element that is needed is the overview. So we have here, it says most of the subjects had more male than female students. Right? So we look at the overall of the whole subject. We don't just focus on linguistics, we don't just focus on psychology and so on and so forth. We look at the overall. So again, it says most of the subjects had more male than female students. So mathematics had more males, programming had more males, engineering had more males, psychology had more males. So 4 out of 6 had more males. So that will be a good overall understanding of the whole graph. Okay, so now I think we're done with the introduction. Let's look at the body part of the analysis. Now, the body paragraph or the detailed analysis of a static graph analysis, what you need to include here is basically you will talk about, you will note the highest or the lowest or the unusual pattern that you can see in the graph. So these are detailed explanation or detailed analysis of the graph. You will also be comparing similarities or differences. Okay, so in doing so, you will use comparative words or phrases. Right? Then that includes adjectives, adverbs, sentence connectors, and conjunction. Okay, adjective words like comparative adjectives, or superlative adjective, or comparative adverb or superlative adverb. sentence connectors, what it means here are transitional words. If it shows similarities, then you use words that suggest similarities, like similarly. If the first sentence and the second sentence talks about differences, then you will use sentence connectors that suggest differences, like the word however, even though. Right? Conjunction is the same. Words like and shows a continuation. Words like but suggest differences. Okay, just like a dynamic graph, in describing the measurements, you will also describe using the exact figures, approximation in terms of fractions, and also proportions. Let's look at an example of an analysis. Okay, again, this is the graph. Okay, so it starts with 4 out of 6 subjects were preferred by males, and they were mathematics, psychology, programming, and engineering. So this is a detailed explanation to the overview just now. Both mathematics and psychology had the highest numbers. So now it's comparing mathematics and psychology in terms of its similarities. And then we have a superlative adjective here. And then next, the same number of male students which chose programming and engineering. So similarities between programming and engineering. And then we have the word but here. Female saw half of the number. So differences between male and female. Okay, the similar, talk about differences. And then we have comparative adjective here. And then we have superlative adjective here. And then we have similarities here. Right, so basically that is what you include in the body part of the analysis. And then in terms of the organization of content, you can see here it starts with analyzing male students, and then afterward it focuses more on female students. Okay, right. So let's go back to our note on body. And lastly, we would write the conclusion. Again, 2 things are needed here. The concluding remark and to rephrase the overview. Okay, let's go back to the example again. So we have a concluding remark here, in conclusion, and then we have the overview. The number of male research students was higher than that of female students in the computer science subject. So it's basically the same idea, but it's reworded or rephrased in a different type of sentence. Okay, so that is basically how you write a task 1 essay. Should you have any problem, please ask me on the WhatsApp group. Thank you very much.